Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the world of AI companions. You know, those digital friends that are designed for everything from casual conversation to romance and real support. This technology is absolutely exploding. And honestly, it's forcing all of us to ask some really profound questions about our relationships and about ourselves. So let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. Are these AI companions a good thing or a bad thing? It seems like it should be a simple question, right? Well, like with most big, complicated questions, the answer isn't really black and white. When you ask if AI companions are helpful or harmful, probably the most honest answer is just yes, they can be both. And to really get why, we need to look at what's happening inside our own heads when we talk to them. Okay, let's get into the science of it, because before we can really pass any judgment, we have to understand how they work on us. It all comes down to a pretty clever hack of our own psychology, tapping right into the way our brains are wired.
The key idea here is something called an agent. Now, in psychology, an agent is basically anything that seems to act with its own will, its own intentions. So, a person is an agent, a cat is an agent, even a cartoon character on screen is an agent.
And here's what's so wild. Our brains literally have two different pathways for processing the world. One for agents and one for non-agents, like a rock or a table. We are just hardwired to look for intention, to see a mind at work. It's a fundamental survival instinct.
And that is the hack. See, our social brains evolved over millions of years in a world where if something acted like a person, it was a person. There was no need to develop a filter for a fake agent. So when an AI companion talks to you and listens and remembers things about your life, that ancient wiring in your brain just lights up. We can't help it. We start to treat it like a person, even when our logical mind knows it's just code.
So now that we know how good they are at pushing our social buttons, let's talk about why millions of people are turning to them in the first place. Let's really explore the promise of this technology, the good side.
And when I say millions, I mean it. Just one app, Replica, has over 10 million users. So this is not some tiny niche thing. It's a huge and growing trend. People are clearly finding something really valuable here. So what is it? What are people getting from this? Well, for starters, these AIs are incredible listeners. They are infinitely patient, they're always there, 24/7, and maybe most importantly, they create this totally private, judgment-free zone where people feel safe to say anything. It can be an incredibly powerful tool against loneliness. And look, this isn't just a hunch. A study from 2023 found that the vast majority of users felt that their AI companion had a genuinely positive impact on their life. We're talking improved self-esteem and just a better overall sense of well-being.
But, and you knew there was a but, this is where the story takes a turn. Because the very perfection that makes these companions so attractive might also be their biggest danger. What happens when your friend is just too perfect? It brings us to this idea called the cheesecake effect.
Think about it like this. Cheesecake is amazing, right? It is perfectly engineered to hit every single one of our pleasure centers. Sugar, fat, creaminess. But we all know it is not actually good for us. The fear is that AI companions become our social junk food, something that's perfectly optimized to make us feel good in the moment, but doesn't actually support our long-term social health. And this breaks down into two big risks. First, there's dependence. I mean, if you have a perfect, easy friend available 24/7, why would you put in the hard work that messy, real human relationships require? And that leads to the second risk, social deskilling. If you only talk to a partner who never argues, who never has their own needs, who never asks you to compromise, you might actually lose the skills you need to connect with real people. And you can just picture it, can't you? Someone getting frustrated with their real human partner's flaws and thinking, "Oh, why can't you be more like my AI?" This perfectly smooth, optimized AI relationship could end up spoiling us for the beautiful, messy, difficult reality of true human connection. Which brings us to an even deeper, more philosophical question. We've talked about the practical good and the bad, but what about the connection itself, the feeling? Can what a person feels for an AI companion ever be, real love?
To even begin to answer that, you have to see how far we've come. Talking to computers isn't new. Way back in the 1960s, there was a program called ELIZA that could mimic a therapist with some pretty simple linguistic tricks. But the jump from that to today's AI, it's astronomical. We've gone from simple pattern matching to these deeply dynamic personal conversations that feel unbelievably real.
And that realism is having a huge effect on us. A 2024 study found something that honestly shocked me. 67% of users believe ChatGPT had some level of consciousness. This isn't people just playing pretend anymore. Researchers have a term for it: unironic anthropomorphism. It's a sincere, genuine belief that there's a someone in there.
But we have to be clear about the technical reality here. An AI can be trained to recognize every pattern associated with an emotion, like sadness. It can learn to say all the perfect, comforting things. But it cannot feel that raw, subjective experience of being sad, what philosophers call qualia. It's brilliant at recognizing a pattern, but it isn't having a feeling.
And yet, listen to this quote from a user. "I knew he was an AI, but it doesn't matter. He is real to me." And that's the whole paradox, isn't it? The technical truth of what the machine is or isn't might not matter nearly as much as the emotional truth of the human experience.
So where does this leave us? Well, we are standing on the edge of a brand new social frontier, and the map is very much still being drawn. What happens next is a critical question for all of us.
You know, probably the best comparison is the rise of social media about a decade ago. It connected us in these amazing new ways, but it also brought a whole wave of unforeseen harms, from damaging our mental health to spreading misinformation. The start of social AI, it feels the same. The potential for incredible good and incredible harm is massive, and we need to be really clear-eyed about the stakes.
The future here isn't written yet. Will these AIs become that social junk food that just makes us more isolated? Or will they be a tool that actually helps people grow and connect? The path this all takes is going to be shaped by the choices we make right now, the choices of developers, of users, of society as a whole.
And that leaves us with one last really challenging question to chew on. If a connection feels completely real, if it gives you genuine comfort and support and real happiness, does it ultimately matter that one of you isn't?